Sonic Movie and Equesria Girls Chapter 5, The Escape. Sonic and the others could only stare in disbelief in what they were seeing as Shadow stood in front of all of them coldly, as Eggman couldn't help but smile.
This should be interesting. Where's the popcorn when you need it?
Tails, get the others out of here. I'll buy you some time.
That's Sonic?
There's no time to argue, Fox. There's no time to doubt his skills.
Tails could only look at Sonic one last time before turning back to the car before it drove off, as Knuckles gave Sonic a quick glance which signaled their understanding on what the other wanted. Knuckles then ran back as Shadow descended down in front of Sonic, as the two hedgehogs could stare each other down.
I didn't know there were other hedgehogs out there.
Shadow could only stare at Sonic before finally speaking.
This is where you meet your end, Hedgehog.
Funny, Eggman said those same words and yet here I'm still standing.
Sonic and Shadow then had a stare down as both their eyes glowed the color of their fur before charging at one another at top speeds, causing everything around them to be pushed back. Back with Tails, Sunset Shimmer was currently driving the others as Knuckles had finally caught up, to which he jumped on top of the vehicle while looking back. Sunset Shimmer could only look over to the fox next to her.
If we survive this, I want an explanation for everything.
You word, Beanat.
I know you guys want answers, but for now, can we focus on surviving?
We have company.
Tails looked back to see Eggman robots chasing them from behind, as Knuckles could only stand in guard on the vehicle while girls looked horrified with how many robots were chasing them.
There's got to be some way we can lose them. Wait, I have an idea!
Tails then grabbed his bag as he then started to search whatever was inside, as robots started firing their guns at them, which caused Sunset Shimmer to move in separate directions.
This could not get any worse.
With Sonic, in the city, two bright lights could be seen running past a street light as Sonic and Shadow were currently racing one another, as Sonic looked over to see Shadow glaring at him.
So Brody the Hedgehog, what made you decide to join Eggman?
None of your concern.
Well then let's stop our little race and settle this then, faker.
Plus, you're not even good enough to be my fake.
Sonic and Shadow then stopped in their tracks before heading in opposite directions, as both pushed themselves off the wall behind them before leaping at one another. Sonic tried throwing the first punch only for Shadow to retaliate and kick him in the stomach, sending him back. The blue hedgehog could only crash against the wall behind him before getting back on his feet and charging at Shadow once more by performing a spin dash and body slamming Shadow, causing him to come crashing against the concrete ground. Shadow then emerged from the ground before uppercutting the blue hedgehog before grabbing one of his legs before spinning and throwing up in the air. Shadow then teleported above him before kicking Sonic back down on the ground. Sonic could only struggle to get up as the blue hedgehog could only get up in time as Shadow tried stomping on him. Sonic could respond back with a spin kick as Black Hedgehog was sent back through a building, as Sonic could only breath heavily.
Darn, this guy's tough. Even with my sparring match with Knuckles, it still wouldn't be enough to take this guy down.
Shadow could only emerge from the building as he walked over to Sonic slowly while wiping the dust off himself.
It's a shame that you're tired already. I was starting to have a little bit of fun.
At top speed, Shadow grabbed a hold of the blue hedgehog face before slamming him to the ground. Shadow prepared to finish as the blue hedgehog off as he summoned a red lightning bolt from his hand.
Say goodbye, Hedgehog.
Sonic closed his eyes in anticipation as before Shadow could land the killing blow, the sound of vehicle noises started to coming their way as both Hedgehog looked over to see Tails and the others come their way. Knuckles then jumped from the vehicle before gliding in between the two hedgehogs and delivering a sucker punch towards Shadow. The black hedgehog could only respond with a cross block as he was pushed back with the amount of force the red echidna had. Once Shadow got back on his feet, the black hedgehog heard the sound of robots heading from all around him and the others as Eggman had finally caught up with all of them.
It's a shame that I'm always late for the party, though I should thank you. Because of you, I've seen a whole new world to conquer. That's it. You had me over the Master Emerald.
Fat chance Baldy McNosehair.
Inside the car, Tails was still searching his bag as he finally felt something as he pulled out the one thing that may save them in this situation. Not letting this opportunity go to waste, he looked over to Sonic to see him and Knuckles facing off against Shadow and a couple of robots.
Sonic?
Sonic and Knuckles looked over to see Tails looking at them as he showed them the ring, as Sonic and Knuckles then knew what the plan was. Not wasting enough time, Tails then moved over as he bumped Sunset Shimmer out the way, causing the girls to look at the young fox in confusion.
What are you about to do?
You'll soon find out.
There's nowhere else to go, Sonic. Give me the emerald and I just might reconsider letting your friends live.
I'll think about it. No, pass on that offer.
Tails then threw Sonic the ring before he reversed the vehicle as Sonic and Knuckles turned the other way, destroying as many robots as they could, leaving Tails an opening to escape.
After them!
Shadow and the other robots could only chase after them as Tails could only take out his blaster and shoot the front window in front of him, leaving the girls even more confused. However, this was the least of their concerns, as up ahead was a dead end as Tails could only step on the gas pedal, causing them to go faster. Sonic and Knuckles could only run beside them as the girls could only assume the worse.
What on earth are you doing?
We were gonna crash. This may be a bad time to ask this, but do you guys trust me?
Course not. We literally just met you.
From behind them, the robots were coming in closer as they heard their guns preparing to fire, as Applejack and Rainbow Dash could only look back in horror as Fluttershy and Pinkie Pie could only wrap their arms around each other while closing their eyes as they assumed the worst. Little did they know that the Tails actually had a plan, as he threw his golden ring to Sonic, which he pulled out and threw it in front of them, causing the ring to grow in size as from the other side opened a gateway back to their house at the woods. The vehicle then drove inside the ring as Sonic and Knuckles had barely made it in time to, as the portal closed in on itself before Shadow could make it through. Shadow could only stop himself from crashing against the wall as he looked back at Robotnik, who looked rather calm but dissatisfied at the same time.
I'm sorry, Doctor. They've escaped. Shall I hunt them down for you?
No, me doing that would be more of a hassle than anything. I for one have a better idea which would cause them to give us the emerald.
What do you have in mind, Doctor?
Oh, you'll find out soon enough. For now, I must contact Agent Stone to prepare using the tornado back home as a teleporter. Be patient, my friend. Soon we'll be able to use what my grandfather left for me. From now, we have work to do.
Back with Sonic and the others after what happened, Tails had crashed the vehicles against a tree as the girls came out slowly as each struggled to process what had just occurred in the last few minutes. However, Sonic was completely oblivious to what had just occurred as Tails and Knuckles walked towards them as they celebrated.
Another job well done, I must say.
That was truly a glorious battle. It was a shame we had to run away instead of fighting back.
Look at the bright side. At least we live to see another day.
I just feel like we are forgetting something, though.
I think you're forgetting more than that.
The Sonic trio could only look back as the main six along with Sunset Shimmer were looking at them, some having skeptical faces while others had an angry one. The most present one being Sunset Shimmer as she glared towards Sonic, who could only chuckle nervously.
Hey, Sunset.
Who the heck are you guys? And what just happened a few minutes ago? First you break in stealing who knows what, next a mad scientist chases us down with a version of you, and now you've taken us to who knows where.
When you put it like that.
Answers!
Okay, I'm getting there. Geez.
How did you explain to Tom when you first met him?
Well, that's the thing. When we first met, he kinda shot me with a tranquilizer and knocked me unconscious.
Tails and Knuckles could only look at him weirdly as Sonic could feel the pressure building up already as he let out a small sigh before looking at Sunset Shimmer.
I think it's time I finally told you the truth. It's obvious that we're not your everyday critter you see at the zoo. Truth is, we're not even from here.
Rainbow Dash raised an eyebrow, skeptical before asking more.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Sonic is trying to say is that we come from another planet, from a different dimension altogether, right?
Hey, don't ask me. You're the guy with the brain?
The main six along with Sunset blinked comically before Twilight was the first one to speak amongst them.
Wait a second. You three came from another dimension.
Another dimension that's similar to our own yet different. Still makes my head hurt just thinking about it.
Just like Sunset's world back at Equestria.
If what you're saying is true, how did you creatures end up here?
It's complicated. Apparently some weird tornado vortex thing brought us here, and for the past few months, just been living here.
That still doesn't explain some things. Just what are you guys?
I'm Knuckles, last of the mighty Echidnas who were mighty warriors who were the best of the best.
Name's Tails. You're probably wondering why.
I know. It's because of the extra tail, isn't it?
Yep.
That just leaves me. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, fastest thing alive.
Rainbow Dash could only twitch her eyes in annoyance at the blue hedgehog but decided to ignore it as Sunset Shimmer face still showed a look of anger.
So if you, fellas ending up here, then why on earth do you stalk one of us for so long? To make matters worse, you've even broken into Sunset Shimmer's house during our sleepover just to get some emerald.
That's no normal emerald. That emerald is the most powerful thing in our universe. The ability to change thoughts into power and make them into a reality. Many have fought to protect it from people like the likes of Eggman, me, Sonic, and Knuckles are the new protectors for the emerald.
Rarity and the others looked in horror and amazement as Knuckles held the emerald for the girls to see, as Twilight was the one most interested in what the little fox was saying.
You're saying I've the most powerful object in my hand.
An object like this that exists that doesn't come from the mega guy brought from Equestria.
That's amazing such kind of power like that could exist.
Ages ago, Knuckles' tribe, or the Echidnas, forged 7 Kiz Emerald, forging the Master Emerald, which had the power to defeat the entire armies in less than a second. Believing no one should have that much power, a group of heroes such as the old warriors took the emerald away from them, causing a war between both sides.
Because of that war, my father, along with the rest of the Echidnas, are no more. I once believed it was my destiny to retrieve the emerald until I realized the danger of what that power could do. Sonic helped me realize that there's more to life than just simply focusing on the past. And now I swore an oath to protect the emerald along with them and use its power for good.
It soon got quiet as the girls had mixed reactions to what they were saying as the trio looked at them strangely. It wasn't until Twilight stepped up and told the trio,
Could you 3 give us a minute?
The trio could only nod innocently as the girls then walked a few feet away from them, as they then talked amongst themselves as Rainbow Dash was the first one to speak.
I'm the only one who thinks this is totally crazy.
To be fair, the other Twilight also comes from another world too, and not to mention us having magic abilities, it's not too surprising that something like this could happen.
That doesn't mean it makes them trustworthy. Who knows what their truly intentions are? Plus, weren't they the ones who put us in danger in the first place?
Although that is true, they did save our lives right after.
They're stranger creatures, I will admit. But they do seem friendly and don't seem like the type of critters to cause any harm. Plus, they did save our lives earlier.
I agree with that, Blackjack. Plus, I think those critters seem kinda cute. Especially the fox.
This feels like something out of a video game!
What do you think, Sunset?
I really don't know. To be honest, I could speak for everyone here that this is a lot to process. But something tells me that they have no ill intentions. It's not like we could go back since the Mad Doctor is out there, and who knows what he'll do to go after those 3 over there. What I'm saying is that for now we'll just see how things play out, and I'm sure things will work out in the end.
Sunset's right. It's probably best to keep a low profile until things are solved later down the line. For now, we'll trust those 3 until we know more.
The girls agreed, much to the annoyance of Rainbow Dash as they turned around to see the trio looking back at them as Sunset Shimmer looked over to Sonic.
Alright, we'll trust you 3 for now. But things are not over between us.
Sonic could only sigh in defeat as he forgot how long it took for humans to start trusting him. The blue hedgehog knew that he had unfinished business with Sunset Shimmer.